button. And while it is certainly not 26 or 29 or however many percentage points it is on Rotten Tomatoes bad, it certainly is not a good movie. It is entertaining trash on all the technical levels in terms of like script writing and cinematography, editing, and sound mixing. All of that, it's pretty bad, but it is uplifted by having a honestly great cast of characters in this film who are charismatic, dynamic, despite it really being Will Smith's show. And, you know, there's a part of that that's definitely fun and entertaining, but the reality is that Suicide Squad is trying to get something that the DC EU has not necessarily earned cinematically, and that is a real problem with the DCEU franchise as it's been going on since Man of Steel. So what is the plot of the Suicide Squad movie? Well, Amanda Waller, one of my favorite DC characters of all time. Like, I love Amanda Waller. Ever since I was little and I watched her in the Justice League Unlimited show, she is just the boss's ass of bitches. I fucking love Amanda Waller. And Viola Davis is finally, you know, giving her the live action clout she deserves, because, like, as much as I love Angela Bassett, like, Skinny Waller is not my life. I do not know her or acknowledge her existence. Amanda Waller is basically saying, you know, in this post-Superman is dead world, who are we gonna have to stop aliens and shit? Because Superman had our wonderful American values and we could trust him, kinda, considering that BV Superman's all about how the government really didn't trust Superman, but why am I trying to look for continuity? So Amanda Waller is like, we need to get an elite task force of people to help protect the Earth if aliens or any crazy ass forces that we may need to throw people at occurs. And so that leads to the creation of Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. And in this iteration of the Suicide Squad, it is led by Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, El Diablo, Captain Boomerang, Slipknot, and the human element is Rick Flag, who is boring. And then also Enchantress, but get to that. And so Amanda collects all of these people, tells them that if you participate, you'll get time off your sentence or in some other bullshit. And Enchantress is basically her huge ace in the hole. She's the Enchantress to steal some super secret Iran document. And the government's like, great idea, guys. Let's have this supernatural creature who's only being held together by dick and a heart, you know, be our secret weapon. And Enchantress decides to fuck that noise and ends up unleashing her equally powerful brother Incubus and creating a giant floaty cloud thing in the sky. Sounds like a job for Task Force X. And the Suicide Squad is unleashed to protect Midway City, I think is what it's called. Some vague, wanting to sound like a DCU name. I'm going to do this kind of like pros and cons. What are the pros of the Suicide Squad movie? Well, it's mostly funny. I think the humor in the movie, especially the one-liners, Will Smith's lines, really, you know, very funny. I think some of Harley's jokes kind of are like, what's that smell? Scent of death? It's just kind of like, girl. I think overall, like, Will Smith himself is so good in this movie, and like, it was great seeing him be funny and be humorous and be lighthearted. And I think overall the cast had really good chemistry together that made the humor work, even though the writing probably wasn't good enough to validate some of that chemistry. The actors knew how to, you know, really take it a notch ahead. And I think that's the other great thing about this movie is the cast. The cast does a really, really, really good job with very subpar material, especially Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie is playing kind of like the fanboy jerk-off version of Harley Quinn, which is what I expected. But I think that overall she adds a lot of emotional weight to the character that, like I said, is not earned, but very much earned by her as an actress. She does an amazing job of really trying to bring humanity to a character that is not really written to be human. Will Smith, again, as Deadshot, has like a lot of really great scenes. And the actress who played his daughter had one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion. Like, her establishing character moment was very strong, very poignant, and I felt it did a really good job of showing who Deadshot was and what his values are, even though he's an assassin. El Diablo was probably another one of my favorites. I felt like they did a lot of really interesting things with that character, and I'll speak to some of the criticisms about him later on, because I think they are valid in a lot of ways, but I have my own opinions as well. But I thought he had a really great emotional story, and I wish we had gotten to spend more time with him, but I guess because he's not cracking jokes, you know, it's not really a character that people are gravitating towards. And I think that the supporting characters didn't get to do much, but they all added their own kind of chemistry to the role. Even Killer Croc, who had very, very, very little to do. When he was in the background, you noticed him. I think everyone did a really good job of being noticed. With the exception of probably Katana, who was really there to be the silent badass and nothing else, disappointingly. So yeah, those are the good things about it. What are the bad things about Suicide Squad? Well, let's just go to the file, shall we? Yeah. Number 1, the plot is nonsense. So here's the thing. Amanda Waller's whole thing with the Suicide Squad in this universe is them to be like an exchange for Superman. Except none of these people, except for Enchantress, are an equivalent to Superman in terms of strength or anything, really. And therefore I just sat there wondering, like, okay, I get I'm supposed to be like, this is the purpose of this squad is to do this, but they are not the right people to do this. And I, as a comic book fan, I'm also coming from comic book knowledge, and I know that in the comics, and even in the movie, the animated movie, it's called Batman Escape from Arkham, but it was originally just called the Suicide Squad movie, which came out a couple years ago. The Suicide Squad does sort of like Black Ops mission task force that is done through the government, but in the dark, so that the U.S. government cannot be held accountable for it. They do like counterterrorism activities, like sketchy, you know, below board shit, because they're bad guys and people would expect the worst from them anyway, and they can just be killed with no rhyme or recourse. And they're also not extremely super powerful that Amanda Waller and the government can't just kill them with bombs to the chest or head. In this iteration, you know, Enchantress is made a lot more powerful than she usually is. I mean, she's a powerful force in the comics, but her powers in this were just, you know, raised up to a very, very high level, and she's given a lot of gravitas, but it's also shown why she would be a terrible member of the Suicide Squad, because you're controlling her with Dick and a voodoo doll. Like, basically, Amanda Waller gets Enchantress's alter ego, June Moon, to fall in love with Rick Flag, and they're in love and whatever, and that's kind of how she gets those characters to stay on the squad, and she has Enchantress's heart to keep her under her control. But this is all very flimsy, and Amanda Waller would know that. I mean, like, in the animated show, she had Project Cadmus, which is not a perfect plan, but she engineered heroes specifically for that job of being a counterforce for the Justice League. She didn't just grab a bunch of nobodies off the street. It was like, you're all gonna be stood against Superman and Batman. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so it just comes up as kind of, why are you guys here? Because in the movie, the animated film, they are doing some sort of reconnaissance of trying to get the Riddler out. It involves kind of a dirty bomb with the Joker. It's got a lot of the similar elements, but it is a task that is fitting for that team of people. Whereas this just kind of seems like I'm just grabbing a whole bunch of funny people, riddling around together and throwing them into this plot that makes no sense. These characters would not be able to do anything in this situation, because Enchantress is either going to be treated as so much more powerful, it's ridiculous, and then have to be dumbed down so that, you know, she can be defeated by the likes of people like Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn, who is awesome, but it only wields a gun and bat. What are we doing here? And so that leads into the second part, the terrible villain. We finally have a female villain in one of these fucking movies. I'm not counting Talia al Ghul from The Dark Knight Rises, because that was bullshit. We finally have a female villain in one of these films, and all she's doing is like some 5-cent Shakira wine dance the entire fucking time. What is this nonsense? Like, it was just, she's just kind of like, what is all of that? Like, I was so confused, and every time she was on screen, I just was like, ugh, again? Like, I just could not take it, because, and to the other point, she's made so powerful that she can do all this shit, but then doesn't do any of that when the plot would actually call for it. She's incompetent for the sake of having these B-list people defeat her. And that's really the biggest problem, is that, like, she's not given she's not given an antagonist that are fitting for her power level, and so she must be, you know, wishy-washy throughout the entire movie about how powerful she really is. Like, I'm gonna make a weapon. What fucking weapon? You're gyrating into the air and shooting these kind of like cloud blasts. What is going on, Enchantress? This is ridiculous. It's just, it's so fucking much. Like, and the thing about it too is that even Superman is weak against magic. Like, that would be cool to have Superman go against Enchantress, because Enchantress has magic, Superman doesn't do well against magic. Ooh yeah, that's conflict. The fuck is Deadshot gonna do? Join me, because you fought against me even though I'm a 1,000-year-old god being. Your swords and guns were just so powerful. Nonsense. According to this story, the only person who really played a good role, should have been out there, was Deadshot, because he could have shot down all of those fucking zombie men people that they have going against them, because that scene with Will Smith, that was boss. Not gonna lie, that was a really good scene. And El Diablo, because he had that super move that he did it towards the end, where it's like, okay, these are the powerful people. The rest of you guys are just here to be red shirts. Well, because this movie is PG-13, they're like, we're gonna be bad guys, and we're badass, and we don't care about people, we're gonna kill lots of people. You're killing, like, faceless demon monsters that used to be people, and there's, like, zero conflict there. It's like, they should just make this movie rated R, had them kill these fucking people, but it's nothing. There are no stakes, there's no consequences, they're just shooting, like, monster people. And someone, I think it was on Double Toasted, Martin made a really good point, one of the critics, of, like, sometimes these things are, like, hard to destroy, and then you have Harley Quinn with her fucking bat just, like, pounding their heads, and it's like there's not even any consistency in these people that they're going up against. And it's just very jarring, because the movie wants to take itself so seriously at some points, and it wants to be so funny at other points, but that just means it being weird, because when you actually have to put thought to it, it just falls apart. Out of a cast of 8, you really only have Deadshot, Harley, and Captain Boomerang really having great screen time, with El Diablo kind of towards the end kind of getting more of an arc. But, sorry if I speak. But the problem with that is that this is supposed to be an ensemble movie. And when you have an ensemble movie, you have to make sure that each character has a true purpose in the story. I may not give a shit about Hawkeye, but at least the movies want me to think that there's a point of having this fucking Archer douchebag on the team. Like, even though we're like, he should be dead, they show that there's a purpose to having him there, from the emotional standpoint of his humanity to kind of giving him sort of like emotional playback with another person. They give Hawkeye a larger purpose that validates his existence in the film, even if it's scoffable at times. They at least pretend that it's real, and they make him fight in a way that shows that he is competent enough to be against these certain kinds of people. In this film, there is none of that. Everyone here is doing jokes. Everyone here is doing one-liners for the most part and having zangers. And if they're not having zangers, they're silent. I mean, Slipknot, I think this is probably a spoiler, but at the same time, I don't care. Slipknot comes and dies within, like, 30 seconds of being introduced. He's there. The thing crashes. Talks to Captain Boomerang, like, we're gonna escape. Sup. Fucking escapes. Gets his heart blown up. Why was he there? Why is he on all this promo art? Because no one's going to be like, oh God, Slipknot, unless you're indigenous and we're like, wow, finally got an indigenous superhero in these fucking movies. You just killed him. Thanks, guys. Because that's really all that happens. Like, the only two people in the Suicide Squad that end up dying are the indigenous guy and the Latino guy. Diversity. If you play Pokemon, you play fucking Dungeons and Dragons, you have your tank, you have your, you know, the bruiser, you have your thief stealth person, your really high-tech magic user who has low HP that you gotta protect them because they have high magic skills but low HP, and you have your white mage. And the white mage, you know, they got weak stats, really poor defense, not really offensive, but you need a white mage because when shit gets real and you're out of potions and you don't got no things going on and no revives, you need a white mage to come here and be like, cure, heal, here's some HP, here's some PP, here you go, guys. That's why you keep the white mage around, because you need that bitch when shit gets real. No one here fulfills any function that is necessary for them being there. They pretend that they do, but Captain Boomerang serves no purpose. Killer Croc kind of serves a purpose, but he's just an add-on. The soldiers could have done it themselves. There's no reason for 8 people to be in this movie. I guess now we gotta get to that dirty feminist part of the review where I talk about the women characters. So, prepare yourselves, guys. Time to talk about those fucking costumes. I personally don't have huge problems with female characters in comics having revealing outfits to a degree. It depends on what you do. In my opinion, if I were Wonder Woman and I were mostly invulnerable, I would be like bikinis all day because I don't give a shit. It doesn't make a lot of sense because she's also a warrior and would also know tactically that she should have more body armor than just like cleavage and thigh. But you know what? She's a bruiser. I mean, technically, Superman could also wear a bikini and, you know, a tank top, and he would not have to give a fuck. Leotards are not, you know, perfect, but you can move in a leotard. It's flexible. Ballerinas with them, gymnasts with them. A unitard is fine fighting wear. Unless, you know, there's guns and shit. Katana's wearing a fucking crop top. Why? Katana does not wear crop tops. It is unnecessary. She's a fucking, you know, samurai. Why is she wearing a crop top? It's a silly, stupid thing. Give her a fucking shirt. No need for that. Enchantress, her stupid bikini outfit was just, like, comical. Like, why that outfit? Why that creative choice? It just looks like, especially when Enchantress, like, she's already wearing in the comics, like, a super busty corset. She's supposed to have some air of dignity. She's just there to be this writhing, dirty mess. It never lends itself to be taken seriously. It just looks silly. And also, because of the CGI, like, it makes it look like her, like she has like a child's head on an adult's body. She almost, like, her face, Kara's face in the movie looks like the child empress from A Never-Ending Story. That's what it looks like to me. Like this weird aesthetic of like adult and childlike. It just never syncs up. And then finally Harley, who looks, I mean, alright. From the belly button up, fine. But her underwear outfit is just dumb. Especially for someone who does acrobatics. Like, all I could think in certain shots is how chafed her asshole and vagina must feel. Like, she earned every bit of money she got from the amount of, like, fucking lubricant she's gonna need to, like, soothe her asshole. Because Margot Robbie is gorgeous. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Even though, you know, not my aesthetic, but she is gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's very talented. She's a really good actress. But yet, anyone can only focus on her ass and her tits and her vagina. And I get it. She showed her whole vagina in Wolf of Wall Street. Everyone was like, oh my god, no pubed vagina. She's so tan and beautiful. Like, I get it. She's hot in that movie. You saw her whole vagina. But you need to get over it. Because, like, she is more than just her vagina and her ass. And it's disturbing because that sexualization of that character is then trickled down into Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn, and I guess this is going to be the Harley Quinn section of the video, and the Joker aspect of the video. Harley has had a very difficult time because, yes, her origin through Batman the Animated Series is through being a character that is so integrated with the Joker, of being this, like, abuse victim and, you know, obsessed with this man who treats her poorly. It's kind of played for comedic effect, but we all can kind of tell, like, it's a dark comedy, not so much a slapstick comedy. And this movie wants to have Harley Quinn, but none of the complexities that Harley Quinn has developed over her 20 plus years of being a character. And this is by making her into, like, a Suicide Girl style fuck toy. Like, making her just, you know, girl, you so crazy, you so hot, you so sexy, girl, you so crazy. Like, that's it. She's crazy and she's hot, and that is, like, all the complexity that people are willing to put onto her in this. And it disturbs me and upsets me because it's not the way it needs to be. You know, even in the New 52, people are kind of edging her away from just being the Joker's girlfriend. She's having her own comic books, her own story arc. She's a popular character in her own right. Even in the animated movie, again, to go back to that, the Suicide Squad animated movie, Escape from Arkham, you know, her outfit in that, perfectly fine. It's fucking, like, you know, like leggings, fucking crop top, little Joker ears with her pigtails. Perfectly serviceable, normal, looks hot still. It's great. She gets that sexual agency in the movie, gets to still be crazy and have fun, like totally Harley Quinn, still gets to be a little hot, but then also her abuse stuff with the Joker comes up, and that's there, and it plays an aspect into how she acts and reacts. Like, that's showing a fully fleshed out Harley Quinn, letting her be her own character, still tying her into the Joker because that is still a part of who she is, and, you know, that kind of fucked up relationship is there, and should be acknowledged because I don't want to erase Harley's abuse past. But it doesn't have to be her entire character. And in this movie, for some reason, they're like, you know what we're going to make Harley? Just completely the Joker's girlfriend and nothing else. That's all she is. She's just Puddin's little princess with the fucking necktie. And they're making her relationship with the Joker a thing where the Joker seems to, like, love Harley Quinn. And that, I was just like, what? The Joker has never loved Harley Quinn. No. They may get along. There are even moments of affection towards them. But overall, the Joker would push Harley Quinn off of a cliff in a heartbeat if it meant getting Batman, getting money. If Harley went to jail, Joker would just replace her with another Harley. Like he did in Joker's Millions. The Joker does not give a shit about Harley in any substantial way. So that it can be this cute little toxic bullshit relationship is just, to me, like, fucking annoying. I'm just gonna say, like, I just find it fucking annoying because that's not the character, that's not the relationship these characters have together. It's just, you try to have some cute twee bullshit in this PG-13 movie, and it's just like, you know, the Joker were like, with his little thing like, baby, I love you, with his stupid grills and bullshit, and like, the Joker, like, with nothing about everything that Jared Leto did to lead up to this movie was validated in what he had to do. Like, I love whatever liquid lipstick he was using as the Joker, but his whole, like, pimp daddy, sugar daddy Joker bullshit was just kind of like, whatever, dude. Like, your Joker is just going to be Harley Quinn's love interest, and it's like, just get him out, just have him for the flashback of the origin sequence, and that's it. His little, I gotta get my girl, blah. Don't care. Not the best either. Like, it's just not well put together. He's not enough of a figure in the movie for him to be so over the top and cray-cray. And it just doesn't lead itself into each other. Like, it's just not well done. And also, what I also resent is that, like, a part of this whole thing, it leads back into the whole thing of, like, them killing, but killing things that don't have faces and aren't really people anymore. It's this thing of, like, I want to do stories with bad guys, but I don't want them to actually be bad because I don't want the audience to be against them. That's the issue that I have with this. Because, like, in the animated movie, they're still bad guys. They're still killing people. And in this universe, right, the Joker and Harley Quinn killed Robin. It says on her little spreadsheet where it's like, Harley Quinn, blah, blah, accomplice in the murder of Robin. So these two fucking people killed little Jason Todd. One. And according to David Ayers, the reason why the Joker has that grill is because Batman just knocked all his fucking teeth out. That's who these people are. These people have, in universe, killed, you know, a Robin. And I think, too, like, even in the anime series, people, like, woobify Harley Quinn to an extent of, like, she's a victim, but she's also a terrible fucking person. Like, they fucking mentally torment Tim Drake in the animated universe canon. So, Harley Quinn is not just a little cute little, oh, she's so crazy thing. She's a dangerous fucking person. And that is destroyed because people just want to masturbate to her, and that's not fucking cool. And it's not about feminism. I don't need Harley Quinn or Katana or Amanda or any people to be feminist characters. It's about having them be well-rounded fucking female characters and not just ass and tits. Because Enchantress and June Moon, their whole thing is about guys. The brother and then fucking Rick, Captain whatever the fuck his face is. Fucking Katana with her best friend with her husband. That's all you get out of her character. She has a sword, has a dead husband, crying into the sword. That's it. Fucking Harley Quinn, all about the Joker. The only one of these female characters that's really not about a man is Amanda Waller. Because Amanda Waller don't give a fuck about nobody. And I'm going through second puberty. I'm sorry. My voice keeps cracking. I've just been having to like shout a lot in other aspects of my life. And I need... Where's my juice? One day my psychic powers will just come together and I won't have to get out of my chair to get juice any fucking more. There's a little bit of a talking about like race with Killer Croc being coded as a black man, and there's a part where he says he wants to watch a BET. And I've never been a fan of like Black Killer Croc because it's only ever released to like gangsta imagery. He's always like doing some weird like with his fucking velvet hoodie. Oh god. And then El Diablo with his style and everything of being part of a gang member. And I will say this, I think it's a twofold kind of thing. On the one hand, because we lack so many positive images of Latino and black superheroes on a whole, it is aggravating that when you do see them, they are leading towards a more criminal element. On the other hand, I will say, we also live in a culture where we very much idealize and romanticize white gangsters. Sons of Anarchy, The Sopranos, even killers like Dexter, Boardwalk Empire. We see a glory and respect in a sort of like, romanticism of those things. So I don't know why we cannot eventually get to a point where we also romanticize and recognize the family and unity and I don't want to say positive elements, but you know what I mean? The elements of respectability that make the mafia and those things like good storytelling mediums to tell the stories of those characters, why we cannot have those with Latino gangs and black gangsters. Because I think that is the balancing act that we have to play of like, El Diablo may have stereotypical elements, but he is still a nuanced character in a way that we've never seen a Latino character in a superhero movie before. Like, he is the first Latino quote-unquote hero that we've had in one of these movies ever? Really? Yeah, ever. We don't have a live-action Miles Morales. So this is it. This is our Latino hero. And he gets to have a heroic moment. He gets to shine. He gets to have a complex moral background. And it is fair to say that him growing up in a certain environment would give him those opinions and that lifestyle, but how he can change and bring something positive throughout that thing. And so that's where I fall with El Diablo. Killer Croc is not a character. He's just kind of a collection of stereotypes, period. So that is upsetting to watch because it's kind of like, again, he's like, gangster or whatever, but he just, there's nothing to his character, so it's aggravating. But at least we have Will Smith as Deadshot, even though in real life he dresses like a 70s pimp with his fucking hat and that turtleneck. I was like, dude, what movie are you in right now? Like, this is not Black Dynamite. But it is frustrating. But I will say that with having Viola Davis there and having Will Smith there and El Diablo there, it is more diversely rounded than many other movies we've got. It's still not perfect, but at the same time, I feel like if we have movies where we have white, murderers, like someone like Bucky Barnes as the Winter Soldier, Mind Wiped or No, as heroes, we can have Deadshot and El Diablo and Killer Croc as heroes as well. I think more damagingly is the sexism and the freedom that they feel to have Harley Quinn, who is the most popular comic book character in this movie, be ass. And just pure ass. So in conclusion, my thoughts on Suicide Squad. I did not regret seeing this movie the way I did with Batman v Superman, where that Batman v Superman aged me emotionally and angered me as a Superman fan in ways I can never fully deal with. It's like post-traumatic Superman stress disorder. But Suicide Squad, there were times I laughed and I had fun and there were jokes, especially like Will Smith, Paul Jackson, Triangle, that he was great. And I thought that a lot of humor hit the right spots. I liked seeing certain characters get their moment to shine. And it was fun because it was characters I liked doing fun shit. However, I find the crybaby attitude of DC's staff talking about how, like, oh, you don't like superhero movies, and we made it for the fans, and blah, blah. All of that bullshit just makes me kind of, in a way, dislike the movie even more. Because it's them not want to take responsibility for the fact that they're just writing shit. And I'm not gonna lie, there is always gonna be an imbalance. Because Marvel is making even their worst movies. And I haven't seen all the Marvel movies. I'm not a Marvel fangirl. Don't get it twisted. But even their less competent movies are well shot. Have a 3-act structure. Have a fucking logic behind them. This movie has none of that. Once you are done introducing the character, that one piece of midway seating, that's the whole fucking movie. There is no arc. It's just all one long shit show. Acknowledge that. Deal with that, and then make something better. You're already making so much fucking money from BVS and Suicide Squad. Get better script writers. Get better editing. Do more with these legendary products. As I said before, you are dealing with characters in DC that have been loved for years, for decades. These characters are much more beloved and are open to criticism because people have an idea of who they are than fucking the Marvel characters. If it's not X-Men or Spider-Man or some shit like that, people don't know who they are. People were not fucking with Iron Man on that level, until the Marvel movies. Superman and Batman, that's fucking eternal. Grandparents fuck with that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot pretend that you and Marvel are playing with the same set of characters. Marvel, when they fuck up an X-Men movie, they fuck up hard. And people are fucking pissed about that. If an anime movie or an Iron Man movie isn't amazeballs, it's like whatever. It's like with Iron Man 3. Critics were not upset about Iron Man 3 because they don't know shit about Iron Man. They don't know that that's not the way that character is or the Mandarin is. They're like, oh, that's a cool twist. Oh, that's good written narratively. I like this movie. Whereas people know Harley Quinn. People know Batman. People know Superman. You cannot pull that same shit. You have to be competent in your storytelling and in your writing. And Suicide Squad was not competent in any of those things. But they had an amazing cast that uplifted this movie from dog shit to just a lovely, small little, cat turd in a stamp. You just, put the thing over it. It's all well and good. And I said, I want good things for DC movies. I'm going to go see Wonder Woman because it's about fucking time. And I'm going to keep supporting DC because I think they have diverse cast. I think they're trying their best. They just need to have stronger writers that understand that our bar is being raised higher and higher every single year for superhero movies. You have to come correct. You have to understand how to, like, Civil War had its entire ensemble plus T'Challa and still gave T'Challa a fucking arc and gave the rest of the original character shit to do that was important. That's where you have to be, man. And you gotta figure that shit out. And you gotta figure that shit out now because there's only so long that this money-making shit's gonna work for you. You got Wonder Woman. Make it work.